pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reverend Matias, would you call the roll?
Okay. Ms. Slade?
Present.
Dr. Flores?
Present.
Mr. LeGrand?
Yes.
Matias, yes. Pastor Moody?
Present.
President Baker?
Here. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Support.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right. Celebrations?
We have none today, Dr. Baker.
Okay, and it seems again we have not invited the left side of the board table, so Ms. Anderson, can you make sure we invite the left side? Right. So there are no student representatives here.
School is closed today.
All right. Public comment for board agenda items. Do we have any?
As far as I know, no.
All right. Secretary's report. That's all on you to.
I know it was here. Okay, here we go. West Michigan Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Awards Gala is happening March 26th from 5:30 to 8 at the Pinnacle, so we invite all to attend. I believe that's it.
There is a table, GRPS table or two, right?
Yes, there is.
Okay, so make sure if you want to go.
RSVP with Ms. Anderson, yes.
Okay, superintendent's report.
Dr. Baker, members of the board, I'd like to ask Mr. Larry Johnson to come forward to share a project that we're working on.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Superintendent Neal, President Baker. And the rest of the board members, just a very quick overview of the G2G program, the grade school to grad school program that Superintendent, along with other community members, have been working on, including one of the board members, Mr. Ross. We launched that program on February the 5th at the Kroc Center. The program is really, the vision of the program is just cultivating the next generation of global leaders. And what we're trying to do is through a series of literature reviews, data reviews, and putting together a theory of action, just began to examine data around boys of color. And just alarming data that this was shocking to us only because it hits close to home here in Grand Rapids. And what we wanted to do is Superintendent Neal pulled together some individuals, and what she wanted to do is see how we can support boys of color from grade school to grad school, looking at the data not only from K-12, the K-12 environment, but also looking at data from the community colleges and the local four-year institutions here in Grand Rapids. Our kids of color, boys of color, were just not being successful. So we launched this program, bringing together between 75 and 100 individuals that attended the original launch, with the anticipation of having them come back to work as mentors, volunteers, creating rites of passage programs within our schools. We have some targeted schools in Phase 1, and those schools are Ottawa Hills, Alger Middle, Brookside, Campus, and MLK. Now, those are just some of the schools that we're starting to going to work with. We plan to come back and identify schools where the Hispanic and Latino community can come together, and also identify some mentors in that community. I mean, the intent is to get all kids across the district, but we just wanted to look at the data where kids were really struggling academically and see what we can do. Brought in a speaker, Teresa Saunders from the Michigan Department of Education, did a tremendous job just really looking at and aligning the program with the Michigan Department of Education's African American Young Men of Promise initiative. And she was pretty impressed with what we're trying to do here in Grand Rapids, and believe that we may have figured out some things here in Grand Rapids in terms of working with young boys of color to get them back on the academic track, and hope that they can not only just graduate high school, but have a focus as they go forward to get them into community college and four-year institutions and other careers as they move forward. And so that's what that's where we are with the program. Again, eventually, we hope to expand the program to young ladies because we see the data coming up with the young ladies that they're beginning to struggle as well. A lot of passion in the room on the 5th, a lot of passion in the room. And so we want to take that and begin to move forward, starting with some training programs and training the young people, the mentors and the volunteers that will be coming forward. We just need to have an organized, trained group of people working with our kids rather than just everyone kind of doing their own thing. So, questions?
Any
Mr. Johnson.
comments? Questions?
As a program hasn't started at all, though, right? It's just been in the phase.
Well,
of
we just
discussing
launched,
it.
and now we're collecting and getting volunteers approved through the district's volunteer process as we get ready to move forward.
Is there anything I can do to help?
Volunteer and direct. We said it's kind of not the challenge 5, but 5 bring 5, and we're just encouraging young people or mentors inside our community to encourage 5 people to come with you, and as you begin to connect with the program, and then once you connect, once you make a commitment, stay to the commitment, because that's where we're seeing the young boys, when we talk to the young boys of color, saying that we just don't hold to the commitment that we make, and they just want us to be accessible. They're not asking us to take them out to a basketball game, to a football game. They're just saying that there are times we want to talk to men, and you're not available. So we want you to commit and be available.
Are there any particular schools that you're focusing on now, either middle schools or high schools? Or?
We are. The phase 1 is Ottawa Hills, Alger, Brookside Campus, and MLK, and then we will identify schools as we get ready to expand into phase 2, looking at our Hispanic and Latino young men, and we will identify those schools that contains many of those young men, so that we can begin to put together some individuals in their community they can identify with to help mentor them as we move forward.
I think it's actually, I was at the event and just enjoyed sitting and watching, but the kickoff event, and I just think it's really impressive. I mean, 2 things. One is GRPS and you leveraging your position really to bring community resources and community members to help with these young men succeeding, and so that's really this leveraging. This is taking advantage of the community resources that we have and moving in the right direction. But secondly, I think that there was a great discussion a week ago on John Powell. Some of you guys in the community have heard of him. He talked about this concept of targeted universalism. So I think it's important when you said that the intent is to help all kids. Absolutely. And this particular group of kids are going to have resources that help this particular group of kids because they have different concerns than other kids, and so I think it's absolutely important, and that we shouldn't shy away from seeing what it takes to be universal and making all kids successful here. So just want to make sure that we say that. I appreciate that work. I appreciate your work. So,
Mr. Johnson, is it possible I can get some of that information?
Absolutely. We'll get you a packet.
all right, thanks.
Thanks, Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
I'd be interested in viewing the data that you based the needs on. I think that's really important to have a good perspective of just where our children are, and specifically children of color, as you've referenced. So the data would be really good to look at, and I haven't seen that data, but I'd certainly welcome it. Thank you.
And we can get that together for you, as well as the reading list that some of the article and literature reviews that the committee did prior to moving forward.
Thank you.
Thanks. We have no action items, correct?
Correct, none.
All right, so can I get a motion for the consent agenda?
Support.
All right.
Okay, Ms. Slade.
Yes.
Dr. Flores.
Yes.
Mr. LeGrand.
Yes.
Matias, yes. Pastor Moody.
Yes.
President Baker.
Yes. All right, moving along. Discussion items. There is upcoming at the end of March 20-something, there is the National School Board Association Conference, and at this conference is also the annual CUBE Conference. And Pastor Moody, I put this on there since we talked on Friday, and I wondered if you would talk a little bit about the conference and maybe and see what others had to think about, possibly attending the conference.
Yes, I'd be happy to. One of the things about the CUBE conference is called Community Urban Board of Education, and what it basically consists of is a conference as a part of the National School Board Association. And what this conference is comprised of, and that's the some of the data in which Dr. Flores was talking about, as to what takes place in the urban community with urban children. And when they say urban children, they don't necessarily mean African American children. They mean all the children in the urban school districts. And they have national data, and they have a board that comprised of a number of different individuals from around the country that talk about what board members need to do who are part of a board in the urban communities, because they have discovered that the urban children learn differently because of their circumstances. So this year they have a very high emphasis placed on Latino males, females, and African American males and females. So they're going to be really talking about that data in Nashville on, I think the date is the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. And I thought it was very important that a couple of us go to gather the information and learn and see what's going on in other urban areas and what they're doing to continue to educate our children. So I really think it's important for us to really look at different ways to educate the kids and find out different structures and what different other school districts are doing on a national level.
So this is part of, it's affiliated with the National School Board Association. Dr. Faub has gone a couple times. Has anybody else been to the national meeting?
It was Dr. Faub who turned me on to it a year ago.
Yeah.
And had suggested that I might look into going. So this year I just happened to be playing around with my computer and it popped up.
And you for sure want to go.
I would love to go, yes.
It would be really nice. My experience is that it's always better when we have at least two people attend the same conference.
Yes.
Is anybody else planning on going? If I was considering it.
Yeah, I'm considering it if no one else considers it. So I think
That intrigues me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I may look at it, but I'll have to look at the schedule.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I skipped the FRN because I thought this might be more interesting.
Yeah, the pre-stuff is okay, but I just want to get to the meat.
Yeah.
So I didn't need all that week, just that Sunday, that Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Is it Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
And Monday.
Conference
Yeah, Monday.
itself is
It's an
Saturday and Sunday. I
Yeah,
think
it's an
Friday's
expensive
a treat.
conference. We ought to
I got it.
probably look at budgets.
Yeah, what I wanted to do was taking liberty, as I was talking with Mrs. Anderson, I took the liberty to just look at the schedule. I wanted to make sure that I cut some things down because of the expenses. I know that where we are budget-wise, I don't want to overexpend any of the district's money. I want to make sure that I look at this from a point of view where I only take the courses that I think are wiser to what I think I need to learn for our district and to bring back to our district as to what that conference consists of.
Pastor Moody, is the urban piece in all of it, or is it a separate?
It's the urban piece is basically in the whole conference, but there are separate pieces where there are breakout sessions where you can go. Like they have something for Native American Indians, they have something for Latinos, they have something for African Americans. So there are four sessions that we're breaking out into talking about different groups of individual students with different ethnic backgrounds. Here, let me give you this for a second.
Why don't we should figure out, and we should also look at the budget and figure out, so why don't we plan by, it looks like the fee is the same if we just, I guess it's pretty late to wait till the March work session.
Most of the hotels are within.
Yeah, we'll need to make a decision. They're already gone, okay.
Yeah. They look
All right,
like
well, we will.
Yeah, the major hotels are all booked up, you know. But like I said, I want to be economically feasible. I don't necessarily need to be in the big hotel. Just a place where we can lay down, because I think it's important that we're going to be at the conference all day. I think the importance of going there is to gain some knowledge.
How about if people think about it and let myself and Ms. Anderson know by Wednesday? Is that good? And then we'll look at a budget and see how many people want to go and what it would cost, and we'll go from there.
Thank you,
Right,
sir.
but we'll for sure
I think it'd be a
support
great
2
for the
people,
School. I
if
think
people are
it'd be
okay with
great
that.
for-
All right.
Very good sessions.
Public comment for any items?
Well, we do have, this is probably towards the end though, right?
This is the end. We're quick.
We are quick. Okay,
That's what
well,
happens when we don't invite that left side.
I see. So we do have 2 people who want to make some public comments. Lupe Ramos Monteja, if you can come up. And also Roberto Torres of the Hispanic Center also. So Lupe, if you can come first, please.
We want to go together.
You want to go? Okay, that's fine.
I know better than to say no to her.
That's right. Well, you learn that.
So we will ask you all to introduce yourselves formally, but we should at least also let you know that we do have Roberto Torres, who is a new executive director of the Hispanic Center of Western Michigan, which is fantastic to welcome him here, and also state school board member Lupe Ramos Montani, and a former GRPS teacher and a friend of all of us. So it's really nice to have you both here, but we will ask you to formally introduce yourself to the, so.
And you do have 3 minutes to speak. If you want a 1-minute marker, we can do that as well.
Thank you. Well, good evening, President Dr. Baker and Superintendent Teresa Weatherall Neal and all school board members. It is great to be here. You know, I know that it is extremely very cold outside, and just going to my garage, I was having problems, but this topic that I want to talk to you about is warm and fuzzy and very important to the students from the Grand Rapids Public Schools and throughout the state and throughout the country and throughout the world. Because here in Grand Rapids on March the 19th, we're going to celebrate the life and the legacy of a great American hero, Cesar Estrada Chavez. And this time is going to be a time when we gather as a united community. There will be unity in the community. And we will start the day with a social justice march, locking arms and walking down Cesar Chavez Boulevard, designated at Granville Avenue. So at 11:30, we will gather at Gospel Temple Baptist Church, and we will have a community gathering. And then we will have a unity luncheon at the marketplace here in Grand Rapids. The basement of the church is too small. Our event has grown. There are students that want to participate. We didn't have the space, and now we're going to have the space so students can also participate with the adults and continue learning and meeting and collaborating with the adults. This is a time when all adults will learn, but at the same time, we're going to be role models, examples to our young, I don't like to call them boys and girls, our young men and women. I taught middle school, and I taught at Iroquois Middle School. And we had 99% African-American students, and they got me straight right away. I'm not a boy, I am a young man. So from then on, I refer to the students as young men and young women. And so, as Tony said, I am an elected official. I serve on the State Board of Education, and I am also the chairperson of the Committee to Honor Cesar Chavez here in Grand Rapids. The legacy is celebrated all over the United States, and there is a foundation in California, and so that's the hub. I will be going to San Antonio to celebrate with them after our march on March the 19th, and they have a huge celebration, so that's really exciting. Now, today, I am very fortunate to be here at the table with the newly appointed Executive Director of the Hispanic Center of Western Michigan, and you have on your board now Dr. Flores, who is one of the founders of the Hispanic Center of Western Michigan. So Roberto so far is doing one tremendous job. He joined our committee, and he is actively involved in helping us make sure that we had the venue so we could have this unity luncheon and invite the students to participate. So I want to thank him publicly for the work that he's done so far in our community in the short 2 weeks that he has been here. A long 2 weeks. Now, as a state board member, I have before you the resolution, and you see this resolution was passed February the 13th. What's the date today? The 16th. Well, about the same time last year, we were able to pass this resolution in the State Board of Education. And there was nothing to invent, because the legacy and the life of Cesar is a historical event that should be taught to our students all over the United States, all over the world. But I'm particularly interested tonight that it be taught to the students in the Grand Rapids Public Schools. I was a teacher and a principal and many other positions I held in the Grand Rapids Public Schools, and I am proud to say that I worked in Grand Rapids helping our students move along, and I always included everybody's culture in my lessons. I taught what I was supposed to, but you always incorporate the life and history of somebody that's in your classroom, and that makes it more powerful and more, they have ownership in what you're doing. So the life and legacy of Cesar, of course, he was Mexican descent. He was an American hero in his own right. There is a naval ship that was named after him, and Cinco de Mayo, May the 5th, 2013. And so there's a lot. A national park was named after him by President Obama. So there's many, many schools, streets, etc., named after him. But if our boys and girls, our young men and women, do not know who Cesar Chavez was, they could go march down the street, they can participate in a community gathering, and they can go eat with us at the Unity luncheon. But, you know, that's not enough. They have to know who Cesar was. Why is he important? Why is there a street named after him? Why is there our school named after him? And so this resolution was very important that it be passed.
I'm getting in trouble for setting a bad precedent here.
Mayor Hardwell got in trouble.
I'm sure he did.
So it's very important that we in the Grand Rapids Public Schools encourage all of our educators, from the food worker to the teacher, to the principal, to the bus driver, everybody, to teach something about who Cesar E. Chavez was and how he has impacted our history, because we Hispanics have contributed to the history of our United States. And so it's very important that all young men and women in our schools learn about him. So I am challenging you as board members and our superintendent to adopt this resolution into your structure, and then encourage the teachers and other educators to include the Life and Legacy assessor, especially in the month of March, because we celebrate his birthday March the 19th, but truly his birthday is March the 31st. Thank
Okay,
you
thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Mr. Torres, you want to?
Thank you and welcome. Muchísimas gracias por la invitación. Thank you very much for the invitation. Roberto Torres, Director of the Hispanic Center, Western Michigan. If we expect kids to be losers, they will be losers. If we expect our kids to be winners, they will be winners. Our children will achieve with the expectation that we set. And the greatest expectation is set by the parents and the teachers. It's the reason why I got involved in education many years ago. I too have been a fellow colleague of yours, a board member in Toledo Public Schools. And I did so at a time when there was reconstruction effort in the school system, and when there was challenges to the public school system from the outside. I did so because the majority of the students that are in the urban centers are in our public schools, regardless of whether there's parochial schools, whether there's charter schools, whether there's private institutions. The majority of the students that are those most challenged are in our public school system. As I heard the presentation earlier, I heard the call for programming that will improve the outcome of children, particularly children of color in our school district. I'm proud to be at the helm, at the lead of an institution that has proven that educational outcomes for Latino students can be realized. When I came into this district and I asked for the graduation rate of our Latino students, I can tell you it was nothing that you want to boast about. When you have more than 50% of your student population, in particular we're talking about Latinos, that are not even graduating, that's nothing to boast about. When you talk about the population of students that is even greater if you go down to junior high and to grade school, it's nothing to boast about. But when we talk about a program called SOL, that's a program of the Hispanic Center, and you're looking at 89% of your Latino students that are in that program that graduate from high school, compared to 42% in the school district, and just a little higher at the state level. When you talk about 89% versus 50% and less, that is something to boast about. Yet unfortunately, the program has an impact on those students that go through it, and that's not district-wide. You know, it's programs like these that we ought to be able to highlight, to fund, to support, and to get greater gains for our district. When I looked and I searched in the web to see what was the hits or what was the story that was covered on this accomplishment, I didn't see it. I didn't see a community come together and celebrate those gains. I didn't see a district come together and celebrate those gains. I come here to you to tell you that with the educational background that I have, come here to tell you with the community outreach effort that I've had, with the elected experience that I've had, with my many years in government, I'm here to reach out. I'm here to say, let's work together. Let's boast about the good things that are happening in this district. Let's boast about the gains that this district is making with its Latino population. But let's not forget the many more that we're leaving behind. I appreciate this opportunity to be able to speak to you, and I look forward to engaging in more dialogue with you, and I would like the opportunity to meet each and every one of you individually and just to share my thoughts and share where we're moving forward as the Hispanic Center. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Superintendent comments?
No comments.
No comments? All right, I am going to start with board member Kyle. I'll start with you.
We just want to remind, as Lucas said, that the March 19th is a Cesar E. Chavez Social March at 11, and then 11:30 at the community gathering, and then at 12:30 Unity lunch. And I just kind of wanted to pull up the address to the market, because it is a change in venue. The marketplace is 435 Ionia Southwest. So just make sure that we all go there and really celebrate this luncheon as well. So.
Ms. Slade?
No, I welcome the new head of the Hispanic Center. And
Yes.
I look forward to working very closely with him. And that's all I have.
Okay. Pastor Moody?
No comment.
Mr. LeGrand?
No comment.
Dr. Flores?
I too would like to welcome Mr. Torres for his leadership at the Hispanic Center. I had the distinct opportunity to work with Cesar Chavez, the late Cesar E. Chavez, and certainly with the Hispanic community. And I too am an advocate for the advancement of all children, and I have a particular interest, being Hispanic, in Hispanic students. And I think that we are going to lead a charge to improve academic achievement for this group, and I think we're going to do that collectively. So we'll need a lot of community support. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. And also, I do want to, I know Lupe often invites people when she's at occasions to visit the State Board of Education meetings, and I spent a day, probably about a year ago, hanging out with her. It's really interesting. Meet the superintendent and get a sense of what's happening from that perspective. I know that she loves to invite us to come, and so with that, it's I hope everybody stays warm this week and kids are safe getting to school, and thank everybody for their work. That's it. Adjourn.